We live on a placid island of ignorance, in the midst of black seas of infinity, and it was not meant that we should voyage far. And yet we're going to, because we have another astrological Pokemon to be looking at today. Just a point of reference, I'm out of town right now. This was pre-recorded. I usually try to record these a day in advance, but this one was recorded about a week in advance, and there will be some notes about this towards the end of the video, so stay tuned and we'll have that going. But for the moment, let's just go ahead and hop right into it. Hi. Welcome to the channel, I'm the Thesterninator, and today we're looking at Capricorn. We've done a lot of astrological Pokemon already, we're gonna do a lot more, but today we're hopping into Capricorn, and it's super exciting. I really enjoyed this. So I went into this design knowing this was kind of my third iteration of the same design, and I'd done a full Capricorn before, just didn't end up uploading it because as I looked at the three forms that I'd done, I realized these all just kind of look like different versions of a final evolution. They look far too intense, so I ended up redraw them, and it ended up working out really well. I'm really happy with where we turned out here. You may begin to notice something if you are a Capricorn or you're astrologically inclined about this design, and that is that Capricorn is known as the goatfish. This is a horse.
Peter, the horse is here.
It's a horse. I drew a horse. I don't know where I got it in my mind that I just like threw out the idea that Capricorn is a goatfish and began adapting like, yes, horsefish. I think I got really confused with the idea of like a kelpie, and I thought, well, it should be fine. It shouldn't be an issue. Whatever, the audience can deal. And then I started reading up a little bit more about Capricorn, the idea of working without expecting a reward, the idea of kind of being the workaholics of the group and having this sense of responsibility. And I thought, that's not the type of person that I want to get on the bad side of. That's the type of person that I want to praise. That's the type of person that I want to get on my team. So if you're a Capricorn, this is your Pokemon for the moment until I draw the correct one. So I'm actually gonna be doing all the astrology Pokemon plus one, because Capricorn will get this and then an official Capricorn Pokemon. I drew this and then I went immediately out of town and thought, I don't have time to redraw this, but given that the Kostawis region that I've been working on for a while is very much water and folklore based, I thought, you know, a Kelpie actually kind of works as a canon Pokemon to the region. So even if this doesn't work for Capricorn, which I'm kind of just assuming it doesn't, it's not a goatfish, this is a horse, I think I'm gonna keep this and you're gonna get another one. You're gonna get an extra. So Capricorn, if you choose to claim this guy as your own, you'll get two different Pokemon lines for it. And you're welcome, I think. The other thing is that if you look, I'm kind of giving that back end a bluish color, because as I was drawing this guy, I was really happy with it, really liking the design, and realized I just drew Pegasus from Hercules. And I tussled with that for a little bit and eventually decided, you know what, it's a good color scheme. They don't own the color scheme, at least I don't think they do. So I'm just gonna go with it. I really enjoy it, I really like it, and it's something that I'm happy with. And that's something I'm trying to teach myself with art a little bit more, is I've gotta make myself happy too. I can't follow all these crazy rules that say, oh, well, you can't do this and can't do that. I draw because I like to draw, and I'm not gonna let some massive corporation take that away from me, I think. But overall, I ended up happy with it, and this is Kelpony. Kelpony, the ambitious Pokemon. Kelpony love to play and frolic in lakes and streams, their rudder-like tails giving them speed to glide through the water, usually chasing one another in fun little games that they're often found playing. They are wild spirits, and any trainer looking to tame one will find that their will is comparable to their own. Next, I had to tackle this evolution, and with horses, I actually found that I really liked drawing horses. Am I your typical horse girl? No, but there is a certain shape balance and sturdiness to the design that I found I really enjoyed. I wanted to make this form feel a little bit stronger, a little bit heftier. Whereas Kelpony is kind of small and whimsical, I wanted this one to kind of stand firm and harsh, and I took inspiration from Pokemon like Mudsdale and Rapidash in this design, but knew I had to make it aquatic. And I thought that was really cool, getting the opportunity to add to these talented horse Pokemon and the artists who worked on them, And I thought, I get to make a water horse. Isn't that cool? Isn't that exciting? And then came, how do you make that unique? I wanted to give it these fins that it has in the previous form and expand on that. How do you expand on just the idea of these fins? Well, in the previous form, I had them as this cute little mane arising out of the top of the head. I thought, I could make this something really intense. I could make it a lot harsher, take away some of that softness, and I actually split that mane into two different structures down the back of the horse to give it this fishtail, sharktail type vibe. I didn't want to go 100%, let's just give it a fishtail, but I wanted to evoke that same type of concept. And Pokemon like Lumineon, Finneon, who have that split tail and who have that dual fin ridge across the back, inspired a lot of what I was doing here, kind of gave me permission to know that this design element would be okay. And I'm happy with the way that that worked out, because I feel like it gives this Pokemon some personality, but also gives it a little bit more structured balance. It makes it feel a little wider. It doesn't feel so much like this narrow, delicate horse like it did in the Kelponi form. It gives it this much more sturdy appearance. And I say it all the time, but I really liked that. I liked the idea of having this thing be this force, having it be something that stands on its own. Is that not the concept of Capricorn as a whole? And while I said I will do a different Capricorn design for you, I was still going through this with that in mind. I want something that feels like it can stand on its own and be self-reliant. That is Capricorn. Capricorn is about self-reliance, taking responsibility for one's own actions and being there ultimately for others. I thought about the idea of this horse standing off in a field somewhere, guarding the others. You know, you have the idea of this wild stallion that keeps track of the rest of its herd? Flock? What is the term for a group of horses? But yeah, I don't know. Regardless, I think that this design really captured that whole concept. It captured this shape I wanted to go for. Clydescorn, the ambitious Pokemon. It has been said that in olden times, people would use Clydescorn in everyday use. Their aquatic features and sturdy backs made crossing rivers and moving loads of cargo easy. However, as vehicles and other forms of transportation became more widely available, Clydescorn fell to the wayside and became wild. No longer are they comfortable with being bared down upon by cargo, let alone ridden. To tame a Clydescorn takes patience and fortitude on par with the Pokemon itself. Research addendum. Today the team and I were preparing a Clydescorn to be put away for the night. This was a particularly ornery Pokemon, and it was fighting back at us the whole way. When suddenly, almost as if under a spell or some kind of trance, the Clydescorn looked up toward the stars, and this particular one began to change. As it did, it remained locked in position, allowing its body to fully metamorphose. The other Clydescorn and Kelponi nearby stopped their rustling and began to witness the transformation. As its form began to take hold, it became surprisingly calm and walked itself into the stable. The other Pokemon who were riled up and bucking just moments before suddenly and steadily followed its lead. I hadn't seen anything as miraculous before or since, but I will tell you this. That particular Clydescorn is now the head of the stable. It keeps the others in line like I've never been able to. I'm glad that we were able to tame this wild beast, or more appropriately, that it was able to tame us. I think that I was so drawn to accidentally making Capricorn a horse is because, well, for one, I've always kind of been fascinated with the idea of breaking a horse, taming it to your own will. And I think that Capricorn is the epitome of that concept. Like I said, they're known to be workaholics, and they do things without any concept of or want of reward. And I think that that's a lot like these wild horses that we broke all those years back. They work hard. They pull massive loads and and continue to be one of the hardest working creatures on the planet, to the point that we call cars and large vehicles pushing and pulling this intense weight horsepower. I think that it's something about this concept, the idea of breaking a horse, that it works hard, not because it's tamed, but because it's partnered. Because it knows it has a job to do, and it's willing to do that job to completion. It's willing to do what it needs to do, and it's faithful in that job. That sounds a lot to me like a Capricorn. And so this Pokemon, during the right time of year, under a certain setting of stars, will take on this new form. I wanted to give it these dual tails to symbolize the evolution of these two things running side by side, equal and even on the main, to now becoming two things that work together separately. They do their own jobs, but are still able to function efficiently. I don't know, it felt like it was just kind of working, and I'm curious what you think. Like I said, I'm going to be doing another version for Capricorn that takes into account the goatfish type of design. I don't know where I kind of got off track with this one, and if you're opposed to that, then I'm sorry. But to make it up to you, I am going to give you a second Capricorn design. Maybe not next week, maybe not the week after, but it will come eventually in our astrology lineup. If you liked what you saw today, or you're interested in seeing your sign pop up in a video, let me know in the comments. I've been very lucky to have a lot of comments about people reminding me of these signs that I'd completely forgotten about. Some that have been coming up a lot have been things like Leo and Tauros, which is going to be really weird because there's already a Pokemon named Tauros, as well as things like Aries and Gemini. So I've got a lot on my plate, and I'm really excited to have it that way. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Find me on my socials, which are all linked down below, so you can get some early access to stuff, some full images, and other things. Until then, I think that you know where to find me. So, bye.